Bleu de Chanel Parfum. I said I was going to bring you guys this review, so I'm bringing it to you now. Let's get into the review of this fragrance. Bleu de Chanel Parfum was released in 2018, and it followed the trend of doing eau de toilette release, eau de parfum release, and parfum release. Lots of people had mixed reviews on this fragrance because whenever brands do that, they get upset that they don't change the fragrance that much. Bleu de Chanel Parfum is exactly that. It's not changed that much from the original or the eau de parfum. The biggest thing that makes the Parfum the most different is the opening and the mid dry down. The notes are lemon zest, bergamot, mint, pineapple, geranium, sandalwood, cedar, amberwood, isoe super, and tonka bean. The biggest difference here is, like I said, the opening. The lemon zest in here creates a citrus that is not like the other ones. The other ones use grapefruit as their citrus, which can come off as kind of sharp and a little bit harsh. This has a smooth lemon zest that is kind of relaxing. It's calming. It's really beautiful, and I think it's the more superior opening of the two. And then it has the mid dry down, which is where it also comes a little bit different. It's got tonka bean in there that really makes it sweeter, and it gives this kind of warmth that the others don't have. This is not a cold weather fragrance. This can still be easily worn in warm weather, but this is, if I was going to pick one for the colder weather, this is the one I'd pick. Because of that tonka bean sweetness, it does add some, warmer aspects to the fragrance, but it's not vastly different. As soon as you get to the dry down, you get the isoe super, you get the sandalwood, you get the notes that make the original Bleu de Chanel Bleu de Chanel. I would say generally Bleu de Chanel Parfum takes a little bit different path in terms of doing, blue fragrances, while other blue fragrances are sharp on the citrus and usually have some sort of pepper or incense or something like that. This one just takes a nice, relaxed approach on the blue fragrance, and this is why I think that this is right now my favorite blue fragrance. Maybe Sedley is up there as well, but this one is probably my favorite right now. Just like the original Bleu de Chanel, you still have like all of the versatility. I would say again, the EDP is technically the most versatile because it has slight warm aspects from the Parfum while still being a fresher alternative than the Parfum, but it's just not as fresh as the Eau de Toilette. All these fragrances are all situations all year long. You can't really go wrong when you're picking these fragrances. Now, moving on to the projection, and now this is where this fragrance really starts to take a massive hit in its score, because this is the Parfum version, and most people, for some reason, associate that with being, oh, the strongest or something like that, but no, it's not. Usually the Parfum just means that it's going to be the smoothest. In this case, this fragrance is probably the longest lasting one that I've tested. I had 8 to 10 hours of longevity. In the heat, it was just a solid maybe 6 to 8. And then when I was in a cooler climate, yeah, it was 10 hours easy for longevity. But then when I got to the projection, this fragrance has virtually no projection after the first hour. It's got a good, moderately strong projection, in my opinion, on that first hour. But after that, this fragrance is gone. And unless you're like right on somebody, you're not going to smell it. In my experience, I did get more compliments wearing the Parfum than I did get when I was wearing the Eau de Toilette. So yeah, it's a bigger compliment pulling fragrance. You also have the small differences, like the difference between the bottle. The only difference on this bottle is the fact that this one says, of course, Parfum at the bottom, but it also has this like orangish, yellowish tinge to the wording. And of course, you have the fantastic atomizer that Chanel has to offer. Everything else about the bottle is the exact same thing. The only difference is that Parfum wording and the yellowish orange tinge. Now, moving on to the next category, the price. And it takes yet another hit on its score. So the retail price for Bleu de Chanel Parfum, the 50 milliliter size bottle like I have, is $155 US, and the 100 milliliter bottle is $185. I mean, this fragrance, yeah, it definitely does smell better. It smells like better quality. The ingredients smell smoother, more refined, and it's not as sharp or synthetic as the EDT, but $60 better? I don't know about that. I think the 100 milliliter bottle could be priced at the 50 milliliter bottle, so $155, and that would have been a solid pricing. But it's Chanel, they can do whatever they want, and people will still buy it. So guys, my overall review of Bleu de Chanel Parfum. This one is going to hurt me to say because I like this fragrance, but the issue is, of course, that pricing and the performance. It's not up to par for the pricing, in my opinion, when, there's so many other fragrances out there. So for the full rating of Bleu de Chanel Parfum, it's going to be an 8.3 out of 10. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm picking the Parfum every single time before I ever pick... Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I'm picking the Parfum every single time before I ever pick the Eau de Toilette. But, you know, of course, I have to call things as they are. And this thing is just missing out on a couple of key factors that could have increased the rating on this fragrance. So guys, that's my review of Bleu de Chanel Parfum. Of course, there's not much to say because the EDT is about 70% similar, and I did make a video on that fragrance already. So if you want to watch that, click that video right there. But if you enjoyed this video, guys, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for getting me to 400 subscribers. I really appreciate it, you guys. But that's all I have for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.